In our previous video about flexible single-stream batch manufacturing, we demonstrated how our EcoStruxure plan solution brings the agility and flexibility to quickly react to the rapid changes in the market. In this new video, we are going to focus on how EcoStruxure plan solution helps to deal with the quality assurance, compliance, and continuous improvement processes by means of the electronic batch record of the performed automated operations. The out-of-the-box and lightweight footprint electronic batch record combines information from all the involved databases, the batch control activity, the trend of the process variables, the operator actions, and the alarms and events from the process itself, bringing accurate evidences of the executed process and allowing to quickly and easily determine its adherence to the recipe and standard procedures while also securing the data integrity. Hello, I'm Quentin. There's a tomato sauce batch just completed now, and I need to verify and confirm that the batch has been executed according to the product and process specifications. So I'm going to take a look at the electronic batch record report to get a holistic view of everything that happened during the production. We have EcoStruxure plan report templates that are based on SQL Server reporting services. Here you can see the main EBR report template and its component sub-reports. The TM50 EBR is a linked report, which is just a special parameter configuration of EBR report template for batches manufactured in TM50 equipment. So I'm going to open this. As you can see, there are many parameters to customize the report content. And in this case, everything is already configured. So I just need to click the View Report button. So this is the report header page. On the left side, I've got a document map having bookmarks to all the sections, so I can easily jump between the sections during my analysis. And here I've got some options to export this content in other formats. Okay, let's go to the details now. In this section, I get formula input parameters and formula output parameters along with phase information. Okay, so here I'm mainly looking for deviations from the specification. This report helps me by placing red flags next to the actual values when the deviation is beyond the allowed tolerance limit determined by the R&D. Obviously, the input and output tolerance limits are configurable parameters of this report. So if I don't see any red flags in this region, for me everything is good, and I will quickly move on to the next section. In this section, I get the trends and statistics of the selected process variables. I have a small checklist in my mind when I analyze this section. Number one is the patterns on these trend lines. They look very similar across the batches for the same combination of recipe and equipment, unless there is some problem. In this case, they look exactly same as our golden batch, so it's good. Number two, the dots on these trend lines. Their color, shape, and relative space between them all convey very important pieces of information. As indicated here, the color and shape of the data point will change according to the maximum severity of the alarms that were on at that particular point in time. The alarm indication will continue until the alarms are cleared. So in this case, we can see that there were no alarms related to these process variables. This report is configured to fetch exactly 100 data points uniformly spread in time for each of these trend lines. So if there is any unusual gap between these data points, it means there were some communication issues during the production, and therefore historian doesn't have good quality data for those points. The next thing to check is the process alarms timeline. This line shows the point of occurrence of all alarms related to the production process and equipment. Again, the color and shape of the alarm marker will depend on the severity of the alarm. In this case, as you can see, there is a severity 2 alarm. Let's check the details in the alarm section. So in this section, I've got a couple of alarm summaries and an alarms details table. So the alarm was due to a device failure. Apparently not. The operator has commented that it was due to incorrect set point of electrical protection. We need to make sure that these kind of issues do not happen more often. As you can see, the alarm was cleared very quickly, but I still have to check the details of batch execution to rule out any impact on quality of the product. This section provides me with details of each phase execution along with contextualized values of the process variables and the formula parameters. I can see that each of these phases have been executed as expected according to the recipe procedure. And for each phase, the values of these process variables are in the expected range. So it's a double confirmation. For me, everything looks great here. Now let's take a look at the user actions. You can see that the batch was held while dosing tomato, and it was held for about 3 minutes. From the timestamps, it is clear that the batch was held to rectify the alarm that we had seen earlier. But for me, this is not a concern because the temperature and pressure inside the Thermomix were quite normal at the time. So I am confident that this incident doesn't have any impact on the quality of the tomato sauce. Let's take a look at the event section and see if there is anything else unusual. In this section, I get an event summary table and an events details table. From the summary, I get an overview of the type of events that occurred during the production. Normally, I expect to see some process events that are just logged for diagnostic purposes, but if I see operator events or system events, then I know that some things did not go according to the plan. This report highlights these kind of unusual events using red flags. Now, let's try to locate these operator events in the details table. Here you have them, and you can see that these are the actions of the operator in response to the alarm that we had seen earlier. And everything else looks good. That was great pieces of information combined together nicely, and now I'm very confident about the quality of this batch. So my decision is to release it for packaging. Thank you for joining me in this review. Goodbye.